Good, happy Sunday morning. I'm Riley King, and welcome to Politics with Riley King. Let's begin. First step, Gardner prepares for campaign to keep job as Secretary of State. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Adam Sexton.
Secretary of State Bill Gardner is carrying out his final constitutional duty connected to the November election, sending vote tallies and summonses to newly elected members of the General Court. After that, he'll devote his full attention to the race for the office he's held for 42 years and the candidate seeking to replace him, Colin Van Ostern.
I basically have 8 days, so he's had 8 months. He's had a lot of money. He's had staff.
Gardner has faced a barrage of criticism from fellow Democrats who believe his support for Republican-backed election integrity laws have made him complicit in voter suppression. He points to the polls in the college town of Durham, where he says everyone who wanted to vote on November 6th voted. Van Ostern says the new laws are still an impediment.
I certainly wouldn't have gone to the legislature and testify in favor of bills like that before they passed the way Secretary Gardner did. You know, there was a day last spring when the League of Women Voters testified against one of those bills, town clerks testified against them, and the only two people to testify in favor were the Secretary of State and the Deputy Secretary of State.
Gardner is gaining support from unlikely quarters. Longtime Republican Steve Stepanek endorsed him as he launched his own candidacy for NHGOP chairman.
Democrats don't agree with what he does. Republicans don't agree with what he does. That means he's a good man.
Van Ostern has the base of the Democratic Party behind him and the backing of the next Speaker of the House, Steve Shurtleff.
When Colin becomes Secretary of State, I know he'll bring a lot of positive changes to that office.
While Gardner has lost support among key Democrats, he says no one should be counting him out.
I know that I've got a lot to do ahead of me, but I've been through this before.
In Concord, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Brief drama in State Senate recount as a box of ballots goes missing. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Adam Sexton.
Tense moments during a New Hampshire Senate race recount at the State Archives Tuesday as Secretary of State Bill Gardner announces that votes counted on election night in Exeter somehow didn't make the trip to Concord for the recount.
I called the town clerk, and there was a box, so the town split halfway. We went and picked it up and finished the recount.
The missing box made it to Concord around 4:30 this afternoon. The race to represent District 23 in the New Hampshire Senate hinged on the sum total of those Exeter votes, where Democratic challenger John Morgan trounced incumbent Republican Bill Gannon after losing every other town in the district. Gannon lost by 106 votes out of 26,000 cast on Election Day and briefly conceded the race Tuesday afternoon before officials realized ballots were missing.
It was a little odd with the missing box and what's going to be in the box, and I sort of knew inevitably we picked up a few votes here and there. I thank everyone in District 23. My fault, we fell a little short.
While they added a twist of uncertainty to the recount, the Exeter votes didn't change the outcome of the race. Senator-elect Morgan, just 36 years old, will be the youngest member of the newly Democratic Senate.
Every vote counts, and that's what we see here in New Hampshire. I'm really proud to have participated in it, and I'm so grateful to Bill Gannon for his service to our state.
Secretary Gardner says it's a rare but not unprecedented thing to see a box of ballots go missing like this. In terms of that particular box, there were only 300 ballots in it. Again, it did not change the outcome of the race, and there were no irregularities in the box. Reporting live in Concord, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Candidates step forward to lead New Hampshire House Republicans after election losses. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Adam Sexton.
House Republicans met behind closed doors Monday, regrouping after heavy losses at the ballot box earlier this month. While it wasn't on the agenda today, the race for minority leader is well underway. Representative Al Baldessaro is promising leadership in the mold of President Trump.
If you look at Donald Trump there, lessons learned from him. He's outspoken, he's controversial, but people want that. People want honesty. They want transparency.
Two former committee chairs are looking to move up. Representative Barbara Griffin led the House Election Law Committee in the last session.
I would say that I probably run a tighter ship than most. I have to say I believe it has served me and the committees I've been with well.
Representative Stephen Smith chaired the Transportation Committee.
Really, the minority leader's job is to be a servant rather than just a leader. The caucus will express its will, and it's the leader's job to get that done.
Rep. Tim Lang is heading into his second term, but helped launch the popular Beer Caucus within the GOP with a goal of building unity among House Republicans.
We honor all Republicans. We want to hear all voices of the Republican Party.
Majority Leader Dick Hinch is also in the mix. He says it will be important for House Republicans to stand firm with Governor Chris Sununu over the next 2 years.
The power of the minority, when you have a Republican governor, is making sure that you're standing up with the governor and you are sustaining the governor's veto as well, too.
In Concord, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Candidates with strong Trump ties launches bid to run New Hampshire GOP. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Adam Sexton.
At a packed barroom in Concord, former state rep Steve Stepanek officially launched his campaign to run the New Hampshire Republican State Committee.
Because at this juncture, the Republican Party doesn't exist in New Hampshire as far as an organization.
Stepanek, one of President Donald Trump's top supporters in New Hampshire, is promising a complete overhaul, pledging to amplify grassroots efforts by focusing on fundraising at a national level.
The money's in Washington, not in New Hampshire.
Current NHGOP Chair Wayne McDonald, who for the third time now has had to step in following a financial collapse, is weighing his own bid to remain at the helm.
I came in July. Not a lot you can do in 4 months. We turned the financial situation around as best we could. We did do a lot. We did a good direct mail program.
Other names in consideration include former party Vice Chairman Matt Mayberry and conservative campaign guru Mike Biondo.
If I do it, I'll be 100% in. And if I don't do it, I certainly want to still help be part of the solution.
Ultimately, everyone involved agrees the fundraising and organization will be key to keeping up with New Hampshire Democrats.
We've got some catch up to do, but we're going to do it.
In Concord, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. State leaders criticize proposed changes to college sexual assault investigations. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Tim Callery.
It's truly outrageous.
That was the reaction by U.S. Representative Andy Koster, Senator Maggie Hassan, and sexual assault survivor advocates in response to Education Secretary Betsy DeVos's suggested changes to Title IX, which would limit the definition of sexual harassment and reduce the number of cases schools will be required to investigate. It also gives new protections to students accused of misconduct or assault. In a statement, DeVos says, quote, "Every survivor of sexual violence must be taken seriously, and every student accused of sexual misconduct must know that guilt is not predetermined." But Hassan and Custer say it has damaging consequences.
A lot of us are concerned that these new proposed regulations from the Department of Education will make it harder for survivors to bring claims forward.
We need people to feel that they can study, that they can have friends, that they can move forward with their career goals and not be the subject of discrimination because people aren't being held accountable for sexual assault on college campuses.
Governor Sununu is joining the opposition. In a letter to Secretary DeVos, he writes, quote, "I am concerned that the proposed changes as currently written could jeopardize protections for victims of sexual harassment and assault." Survivor Harmony Reed is hoping DeVos hears these concerns.
These are conversations that need to be ongoing. I have some serious, grave concerns about the platforms and where we are headed.
And now the guidelines are not set in stone yet. The public has 60 days to respond before anything is finalized. Reporting live in the studio, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Potential presidential candidate Cory Booker to return to New Hampshire for Democrat Party celebration. New Jersey Senator to make second visit to first in the nation primary state this year on December 8th. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker is the first potential Democratic contender for the 2020 presidential nomination to make plans to visit the lead-off primary state since the midterm election 2 weeks ago. We have learned that Booker will return to New Hampshire for the second time in less than 2 months on Saturday, December 8th. The centerpiece of Booker's visit will be at New Hampshire Democratic Party post-election victory celebration of gains made by the party's candidates in the November 6th election. The event will be held at the New Hampshire Institute of Arts, 148 Concord Street, Manchester, beginning at 2:30 p.m. The event is free of charge, but registration is required. In addition to holding the state's 2 U.S. House seats, Democrats on November 6th flipped the majorities of the New Hampshire House, Senate, and Executive Council. They held a 234 to 166 majority in the House, a 14 to 10 majority in the Senate, and a 3 to 2 majority on the Council. Booker visited New Hampshire on October 28th, campaigning with U.S. Rep-elect Chris Pappas at the University of New Hampshire in Durham, and with U.S. Rep. Annie Custer at Dartmouth College. He retreated during the visit that he was strongly considering a presidential run and said that he would be back in the state soon. In the closing month of the midterm election, Booker raised more than 170,000 for the state Democratic Party and state Senate and House Democratic candidates, a source told us. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren will not visit the state, sent 2 paid staffers to New Hampshire to help New Hampshire Democrats. The December 8th event could be remistic, and then Senator Barack Obama's first visit to New Hampshire on December 10th, 2006, for a similar victory celebration. Obama went on to finish second in the 2008 First in the Nation primary, source this party's presidential nomination, and serves 2 terms as president. Booker and Obama have in common a key New Hampshire Democratic strategist. Jim Derms was Obama's first supporter in the Granite State and met him at the airport on December 8th, 2006. He's now already on board with Booker for the 2020. He told WMUR in March he'd support Booker if the senator runs for president. Booker, a former mayor of Newark, has been a senator since late 2013. He won a special election for the seat that opened after the death of Senator Frank Lustenberg. Booker then won a full term in 2014. He evaluated his already high profile during the recent Senate Tradition Committee hearing on now U.S. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh as one of the most outspoken opponents of Kavanaugh and supporters of Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, who charged that Kavanaugh assaulted her when they were in high school more than 30 years ago. Booker campaigned for Hillary Clinton in New Hampshire during the 2016 presidential campaign. His relationship with New Hampshire Democrats dates back to 2012 when he addressed a breakfast meeting of the state's delegates to the new Democratic National Convention in Charlotte, North Carolina. He addressed the delegates again during a convention in 2016 held in Philadelphia. Last week, Republican Ohio Governor John Kasich, who is about to leave office, visited the state and reiterated that he is strongly considering running for president, either as a Republican challenger to President Donald Trump or as an independent in the general election. And that does it for this edition of Politics with Riley King. I hope you all enjoyed this Sunday edition of Politics with Riley King. I'll see you back here next Sunday for another edition of Politics with Riley King. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you back here next Sunday for Politics with Riley King. And have a great week, everyone. Goodbye.